Hello everyone and welcome back to Beyond the Veil Tarot and Astrology. My name is Candice Marie. Thank you guys so much for joining me. I'll be your astrologer today. Happy Tuesday. Excited to be back filming a video on this up and coming new moon in the sign of Capricorn. This is going to be quite the powerful lunation, guys. I'm looking forward to it. And this is all going to be taking place on January 18th, 2026. So whether you guys are a seasoned astrologer or you're just curious about what this new moon means, this video is for you. I encourage you guys to grab your chart and we're going to explore what this powerful lunation new moon means and how it's helping us build long-lasting foundations. Also, if you guys like this content, you want to see more of it, make sure you guys like this video and you subscribe. Hit the bell button so you guys get notifications as to when I have new videos out on the channel. I'm always here on Tuesdays, Thursdays, Fridays, and Sundays, utilizing tarot, astrology, and the Sabian symbols to try to make sense of what's going on in the cosmos. Equally, leave me your comments below. Let me know if this video resonated with you. Drop your rising sign and let me know what your guys' goals are under this Capricorn new moon. Well, first we got to talk about the general themes of a new moon, what it means in astrology. We know that we have one every month and new moons always mark this fresh start. So it's about new cycles. And this is going to be really kicking off, lasting for the better part of the next 6 months. Now you'll feel the energy for the next 2 to 4 weeks until we get past the up and coming full moon in Leo and get into what will be next month's solar eclipse in Aquarius. So this means it's the perfect time for setting intentions, planting seeds for the future, and manifesting what exactly you want to grow in the Capricorn area of your chart. Obviously, new moons are very reflective. This is an inward energy that's going to be a little bit more focused on encouraging reflection and also a little bit of quiet action rather than making bold moves. Like the goat, we want to plan long term. So think about where you want to be in 6 months' time and know that this is kind of like a dark energy with the moon. So it has a lot of potential, but that potential is hidden. Even though it's hidden, it's very potent and it's going to be ready to sprout over the next several months. Now, if we zoom in on Capricorn new moon in general, obviously we know that Capricorn is an earth sign. It's the 10th sign of the Zodiac and it's cardinal, which means it's action oriented, perfect for a new moon vibe, and it's ruled by Saturn. So this lunation is going to bring themes of ambition. It's also about discipline, structure, and long-term planning. And I know you guys have heard that a lot recently. That's because we have just had these gangbusters of planets, Sun, Mercury, Mars, Venus, all moving through Capricorn the first half of January, leading to what will be this new moon. But overall, it's all about climbing some kind of personal mountain. So take a look at your chart, see which house this is taking place in. That is where you're going to be setting some new goal. For some of you guys, it might mean that you're focusing on career themes. For others, it's their reputation, their responsibilities, and obviously making these goals kind of transform into some sort of tangible success. Now, we know that Capricorn energy is practical, it's resilient, it's patient, and it's also very goal-oriented. It's going to remind us that we have to work hard, and if we do, patience likely will pay off with this new moon. I think it's helping us get serious about our legacies as well as our personal boundaries and kind of taking some sense of authority when it comes to our lives. Now, this will be impacting Capricorn placements the most. So if you have anything that's going to be around the 27, 28, 29 degrees of Capricorn, be that a sun, moon, rising, or personal planet, this one is for you guys. But also that 27 to 29 degrees of the cardinal signs, you guys are going to be feeling the kind of energies in the form of a square. So Aries, Cancer, and Libra, I'm talking to you guys. And I'll take you guys through the 12 rising signs at the end of the video so you can kind of see where this new moon is taking place. But I do think it's going to be beneficial for everybody. And when we're dealing with planets at the late degrees of a sign, it represents a culmination point, something that we really have to kind of get right, something that we have to really fulfill. And it's kind of reminiscent of where we saw a lot of the conjunctions that were actually taking place several years ago back in 2020. So it does kind of suggest that we're in for some real serious long-term change. Now, if we apply degree theory and we think about what's kind of happening with this particular lunation, it's going to be taking place at 28 degrees. And 28 always connects and correlates to, in degree astrology, a Cancer energy. So perfect, because we see some wide oppositions to Jupiter in Cancer, especially after this entire earlier part of January, where we've seen a lot of planets make oppositions to Jupiter as well. So it is going to be kind of blending that energy of Capricorn structure, ambitious vibe with Cancer's emotional kind of nurturing qualities, touching on homes, families, as well as our relationship to family, our roots, our home countries, and anything that is also kind of connected to property and real estate. Now, I think the kind of infusion of these two energies with this lunation is going to put a strong emphasis on emotional security. And really kind of protecting what matters the most to us. So for some of you guys, it may manifest as kind of building a home within your career, maybe working from home, or finding some kind of emotional fulfillment through your disciplined pursuits over the next couple of months, like creating a legacy for you or your loved ones. And when it comes to intentions for a Capricorn new moon, think about what you really want to build or achieve over the next 6 months or even longer. I would be setting goals around either career advancement, maybe financial stability, personal authority, or improving your public image. So if you're wanting to go for a new job, if you're wanting to launch a new business, if you're wanting to update your LinkedIn or your resume, perfect new moon to do that. I think intentions really should be about committing to disciplined habits that are supporting your professional goals as well as growth. Maybe needing to build stronger boundaries to protect your energy and also your ambition. If you can ground these intentions with authority and a sense of reality, I think that it's going to be something that's definitely going to pay off. You know, Capricorn does not like these kind of like pie in the sky dreams. It wants us to take actionable steps when it comes to our role out in the world. Now, something else to kind of think about is the Sabian symbol. So the Sabian symbol is personally one of my favorite symbols. As you guys know, it's happening at 28 degrees and change on the 18th of January. So we're going to be reading Capricorn 29. And this is a woman reading tea leaves. So Capricorn 29, a woman reading tea leaves. The keyword is signature. The theme is a screen of prophecy. The symbol speaks to divination and prophecy or a desire to pierce the veil between the visible and the invisible worlds. The image of a woman reading tea leaves emphasizes psychic insight, intuition, and interpretation of the symbolic imagery. The keyword signature, the Sabian concept defined by Jones in his occult philosophy book, is the indication of a sequence of cause and effect and the potential of conveyance in varying correspondences in any given situation held by an object or an event at the forefront of attention. The symbol or significance in logical alertness, rational creativity, and intellectual psychometry. Sabian's signature is similar to the Jungian synchronicity, a coincidence in time of two or more casually unrelated events which have the same or similar meaning. The simultaneous occurrence of certain psychic sense or state with one or more external events which appear meaningful in parallels to the momentary subjective state. At its highest, the symbol represents exceptional intuition and an understanding of deeper significance or events and situations. In a negative sense, it can mean we're being more superstitious or an obsession with kind of like cheap fortune telling. So today, the accent is on divination or seeing into the future, trying to predict an outcome of events or get a handle on what you should be focusing on to kind of occupy your time today. The opportunity is your greatest advantage lies in paying attention to patterns and looking at things symbolically. Look for unusual convergences and be alert to the timing of things. Guard against superstitious thinking or abandoning your common sense. Don't look for supernatural explanations when a simple answer will do. Stepping stones are insight, intuition, divination. It's also about like psychometry. It's connected to forecasting, fortune telling, predicting, visions, anything that deals with revelations, omens, encouragement, and all of that fun stuff. So being somebody who I do have a background in reading tea leaves. Actually, if those of you guys who have seen me in LA probably about 10 years ago, that was one of the kind of forms of divination that I did while I was doing readings there. One of my favorites. And sometimes people do it with coffee grounds. Sometimes people do it with tea leaves. There's a number of different ways that you can kind of do this, where you take your coffee or your tea, you drink it, you put it on the saucer, and then you swirl it around, and then you kind of like look at it and scry what you see within the coffee or like the tea leaves. So for me, it's about looking for images, symbols, anything that is going to be foretelling what's coming in the future. So those of you guys who had those types of readings, you know, you can see animals, you can see numbers, you can see shapes, and different things are going to have different meanings. But you have to kind of adjust your gaze, and you have to look at it in a very abstract way. Sometimes we see what we want to see. Sometimes we see things that we wouldn't typically see. So this symbol for me really represents the ability to see the hidden meanings in everyday occurrences. Maybe it's numbers, license plates, common themes, or kind of symbols that are kind of popping up that we kind of tap into. That helps us really kind of hone in on our intuition and some of the more subtle spiritual messages that we're kind of getting from the ethers. It does suggest that there is a gift for divination and prophecy, or interpreting signs from the universe, like reading the patterns in the tea leaves to kind of foresee the outcome. So for this new moon, it does encourage us to look beyond the surface. I got to do it, beyond the veil. That's really kind of one of the Sabian symbols that kind of influenced my business. And also it's about looking beyond our goal setting, right? Using our inner vision to really be able to align intentions with deeper truths to see a potential future. So yes, you guys are going to see all over the internet all kinds of people who are doomsday prophesizing, people who are also really religious who are prophesizing. You're going to see lots of numerologists, tarot readers. You're going to see lots of psychics, mediums, astrologers, people who are telling you what's coming in the future. But the truth is the future is yet to be defined, and it's going to be defined based off of what our goals are moving forward. It's about trusting your intuitive insights and kind of guiding yourself with practical ambitions so we can turn these subtle cues, I think, into structured manifestations. Perfect because the chart ruler Saturn is in conjunction to Neptune, where it's all about making our dreams a reality. So if we think about the events that kind of take place revolving around a Capricorn new moon, well, first of all, everything's going to kind of bottom out. We're going to kind of see that the days leading up to this new moon, where there's a dark moon. The moon's going to come into Capricorn a day or two prior. It's going to come into conjunction with Mars and Mercury right before the new moon. So it can kind of symbolize there's news, there's media, there's going to be also lots of fortune telling and forecasting, but also there's going to be lots of talk about what's going on with top-down structures in the world, Capricorn. So media would be Mercury. Mars could be things revolving around conflict or war. It could also be talking about military mobilizations, major announcements that are being made by businesses, and big decisions that are being made by leaders. But it will take anywhere from about 4 weeks to 6 months to see the true kind of blossoming, or I think developments that will come from this seeded new moon intention. Now, what we generally see with the new moon in Capricorn is that it can signal that there is about to be some major shifts in global structures, which honestly, you don't need a Capricorn new moon to tell you that this is going to be happening with this incoming Saturn-Neptune conjunction in Aries next month. I am really thinking this is going to be about, with Capricorn being connected to ruling authority and institutions, we're likely going to see major reforms in leadership. Maybe corporate systems, perhaps with kind of unexpected innovations due to the trine to Uranus and Taurus. You know, that can mean changes in food, changes in distribution, changes when it comes to money, banking, anything of that nature. Collectively, I think the effect that it's going to have on us is really encouraging major societal focus on maybe sustainability, long-term planning. So think that there might be, you know, major announcements about what's going on with the banking system, what's going on with transactions. Economic resets are definitely one of the themes that we see with some of these aspects, but also a push towards changes revolving around consumerism and changes revolving around the planet, because, you know, Taurus is an earth sign. So personally, it's going to be a little different. You have to really kind of look at your chart, and that's really where it pays to know some of the points in your chart. If you happen to have other planets in earth signs, it's going to trine, so it'll be friendly. If you have planets in water signs, likely if you are a Pisces or a Scorpio, it's going to sextile. Cancer is going to feel the opposition, so it's going to feel big. But having earth, and water in the chart is really going to help. Because this is a very earthy kind of, new moon with sextiles to Pisces, trines to Taurus, oppositions to Jupiter, one thing that this is lacking is fire. So I think it's going to be deep. I think it's going to be emotional. And it's also really about kind of picking ourselves up by the bootstraps and getting serious about our future. But for those of you guys who are kind of wondering, I think it could push us to take personal responsibility of building our own empire, right? That could be one. Maybe helping us feel more empowered amid some of the collective changes that are going on out in the world. Watch for news around authority figures or kind of infrastructure, developments around mid-January. And it's going to be hard to miss with just all of the, planetary conjunctions that are happening in Capricorn building up to this point. Now, to harness this energy, obviously Capricorn's an earth sign, so you're not going to go wrong working with crystals or working with herbs. If you happen to be a rock hound and you're wanting to really manifest under this new moon, if you're wanting to get grounded, if there is a sense of wanting to feel more motivated, I recommend either wearing or carrying with you garnet, because garnet is associated with Capricorn. It's great for motivation. It's also great for grounding. Smoky quartz might be a good one as well, because it's going to really help us release old patterns, especially since Capricorn does have a tendency to be a little rigid. And also we're just going to see so many planets that are going to be in Capricorn that are trining Uranus and Taurus. So we could have sudden shifts in our finances, our values, and our vibration if we're working with crystals. I like using also onyx for strength and protection. Obviously Capricorn likes like darker stones, but if you're wanting that, if you don't have onyx, you can also use black tourmaline, because that's going to help us kind of reinforce some of our boundaries, which I think is really beautiful with like the Saturn-Neptune sextiles that we're going to see. Herbs that I like to use that are associated with Capricorn or transits of this nature, I would say definitely rosemary can be really helpful for clarity. So you can use that in a diffuser, you can cook with it, you can put it in a bath or in some tea. Also, thyme is really good for courage, and sage for purification. I would add in some comfrey of some kind, so you can burn that on a candle or you can throw that into a bath. That's going to be really helpful for stability. Mullein is also a really great herb that you can use whenever you're dealing with Capricorn energies also, and that is a herb that's strongly associated with Saturn. So it can help us stay committed to our goals and stay focused amidst some of the kind of more challenging kind of Mars-Uranus energies that are kind of taking place. Now, rituals for Capricorn, really it needs to revolve around the house that you're going to be having, but you can't go wrong writing your intentions on a piece of paper, burning a candle, and just visualizing your goals. Very simple. You don't need to do anything crazy. But Capricorn is an earth sign, so if you do decide that you would like to write your intentions, maybe put it in a pot and like plant a seed, that could be something else that you guys could do. Or if you're doing like a little window garden or something, maybe you want to bring crystals with you to work, or you want to set new work goals. Find a place in your office space that you can kind of put some of these crystals, set your intentions, so that way it can grow over the better part of like the next 6 months. Now these, rituals that we are doing, we really want to symbolize grounding. So if you're not doing that, you can do that more in a visualization sense, where maybe you are meditating, visualizing yourself climbing a mountain. I also would say, anything that is revolving around reaching the peak, getting to the top. Capricorn's association with the MC and the connection to kind of being at the top, looking down on everything, it means that we're finally climbing that mountain, reaching our goals, and able to achieve some sort of success. To do that, we need a lot of ambition. So some of you guys might benefit from creating a vision board, focusing on your career goals this year, or what you're just hoping to master. Also, salt baths can be really helpful, especially with Saturn being the ruler conjunct Neptune. Salt baths, sauna, soaking, anything that's going to be kind of cleansing and kind of clearing our energetic field is really beneficial, because it's important to set those intentions and also protect our boundaries. I do like the idea of lighting like either a white, a black, or a brown candle. I think these would be the best colors to utilize. But honestly, if you have a tea light, or a small like little, candle, you can do wonders with just really visualizing your intentions with this one. Now, you guys know me. I always tell you that the aspects of a new or a full moon is really going to determine whether or not this one's going to be easy or if it's going to be challenging. I will tell you guys, I looked ahead to see what was going on with the full moon that's going to be taking place at the end of June in Capricorn. So when this comes to full bloom, we are going to be seeing a lot of things that are going to be happening. We're going to see like a Mercury retrograde that's going to be in opposition to the degree that this is taking place, likely indicating that some of the changes that are happening with government and leadership is going to have a huge impact on all of our lives, our families, our home, as well as the housing market. I do think it's going to prompt a lot of incentives to try to kind of stimulate the housing market. I do think that some of the government decisions that are going to be made or leadership that's going to be kind of coming on board over the next 6 months is really about helping citizens. And it's going to be about helping citizens kind of grow. It's also going to affect a lot of where people are living or where they're relocating to. And it will also be in opposition to Jupiter. That's going to be around these same degrees in Cancer still, right before it goes into Leo. We'll be experiencing that Mercury retrograde, so likely a lot of people are going to be feeling like they're moving to places where they're going to feel safe or where they're feeling like they kind of align with some of the values of that particular city, state, or country. We will also see Saturn in Aries at this point. It'll be around 14 degrees, so it's going to deal a lot with money because that's a Taurus degree. It's going to deal a lot with people deciding whether or not they're going to be working for themselves, launching their own businesses, potentially working from home. And I wonder if there's going to be some incentives for people who are self-employed or starting businesses. Now we'll get into that obviously as we get closer to the full moon over the summer. But for right now, I got to tell you, I ain't mad at a lot of these aspects. I feel like if we can work with some of these sextiles and the trines, it can actually be incredibly powerful, very beneficial. And obviously it's the first new moon of 2026. So if you guys really want to start the year off strong, I highly recommend working with this new moon. Now, obviously Saturn is the ruler. Saturn rules Capricorn. So the first place my eye always goes to when I look at a new moon is what's happening with the ruler. Well, we see a harmonious aspect that's taking place, and this is a sextile between all of these planets, the sun, the moon, Mercury, Mars, heck, even Venus is sextiling Saturn, okay? So it's friendly. Now this is a closing sextile, so it's kind of reiterating, just so you guys know, Capricorn, you know, a lot of things are being kind of set in motion right now that is going to really kind of come to the forefront as we get into Aries season, you know, March kind of going into April of 2026. That will also be the halfway point between what will be this new moon and then the full moon that'll be at the end of June this year. And that's going to be quite the springtime here in the northern hemisphere. Sun, Mercury, Mars, even Venus, all of these planets are going to be going through Aries. They're going to have to meet with Saturn. They're going to have to meet with Neptune, which means individuals are going to be focusing on sovereignty, independence, freedom. Otherwise, if they're not, they're going to feel like they're losing it, or they're confused, or they're lost, or they don't know how to fend for themselves. They don't know how to be independent. And a lot of us are going to be having tons of fresh starts in the spring. But for right now, focusing on the sextile to Saturn, Saturn is direct. This harmonious, 60-degree aspect is really supporting the intentions with compassionate structure, right? Saturn is in a mutable water sign, the last, kind of sign of the Zodiac, also in late degrees of Pisces. Now, Saturn in Pisces, I think, has really kind of taught us in a nutshell that it's about discipline, bringing discipline to our dreams, as well as spirituality. It's about not expecting people to come and save us. It's also about knowing when to kind of wave the white flag and go, actually, this is not my problem, or this is not my responsibility, or I can't take this on, or I'm kind of getting slimed with what's going on collectively. But the positive is that the sextile is really helping kind of blend, I think, Capricorn's more focus on practicality and structure and goals with Pisces, empathy, psychic kind of state, emotional kind of needs. And it means that our goals can actually be infused with intuition. So it's really doubling down on this current Saturn-Neptune conjunction that's taking place in Pisces. I think this makes success feel more soulful. It's going to feel less rigid. It's going to feel more in alignment, and obviously tapping into our intuition, just like the Sabian symbol said, as we're looking into, the tea leaves in the cup. So it's perfect for healing through achievement. It's amazing for getting the show on the road with our professional or our career dreams. And it's also about kind of getting in the driver's seat and making our dreams a reality. Now, yes, Saturn is conjunct Neptune. I cannot wait to bid farewell to this conjunction. I think that with this tight alignment, kind of blending reality with illusions, there can be some problems here. It can be that we're seeing that leaders or governments are talking about some potential impending collapse, dissolving, changes, things that are going to be going away. So Saturn and Neptune in Pisces could represent water. It could represent things that are connected to access to oceans or, natural kind of springs and water. It can also talk about institutions and systems. So we think about prison systems, we think about stuff that deals with immigration, things that are connected to borders, anything that deals with the global economy. And likely you're going to be hearing a lot of comments and statements over the next, 2 to 4 weeks. That's like, hey, this is what we're kind of projecting and this is what we're seeing. That's kind of going on globally. And hey, by the way, this is what we're going to do about it. And this is how it's going to be impacting the economy. This is how it's going to be impacting jobs with all those trines that are kind of going on with Uranus and Taurus. Now, this conjunction between Saturn and Neptune is notorious for dissolving old structures. That's what it's here to do. So in Pisces, it's saying it's the end of the confusion, things being kind of clouded, things being hidden, obviously conspiracy and stuff that's going on behind the scenes. And it's leading to new inspired visions that are going to be coming online basically February through April of this year. However, right now, there's confusion, and we have confusion if boundaries are not set. So for this new moon, it's important because it's really adding this layer of, okay, there's spiritual depth and all of the woo-woo, but it's encouraging us to get serious about building our dreams and serving for the greater good. Maybe it's our spiritual purpose. Maybe it's about sacrifice and helping others who are in need. Maybe it's just encouraging us to really focus on not leaning into escapism and also needing to kind of have realistic expectations as we move forward. Now, the positive is that we see a trine that's taking place with the new moon, so the sun-moon conjunction, to Uranus in Taurus, okay? So with that trine, it's a 100-degree flow. Trines are always a Jupiter energy, so it means it's big, it's expansive, it's going to inflate some things, it's going to make things more positive, potentially joyful, and obviously it could bring us some kind of sudden luck or abundance. Now, this is innovative energy, Uranus and Taurus. Uranus brings surprises and breakthroughs. It is retrograde, so it does mean that, there is going to be this rethinking when it comes to economic policies, rethinking when it comes to energy, rethinking when it comes to power and natural resources. So it might be actually reevaluating and turning back the clock on, are we actually going to move forward with some of these green incentives, around the planet? Does it make sense financially? Do we have the necessary resources to do this? Are there going to be new forms of energy that are kind of coming out in this next year that could actually be beneficial, not just for us, but also for companies, for businesses, for the government? And it might be connected to hard assets, things that you find in land. I'm thinking stuff connected to copper, things connecting to silver, things connecting to oil, anything that's going to be dealing with gas, just because of some of the aspects that we're seeing to Uranus, Saturn, as well as Neptune. Now, this aspect will also spark sudden insights. So you might find that there's a sudden insight that comes up about your finances. Uranus and Taurus could be about changes in the banking system, changes with crypto, changes that are going on also with the bond market, and the shifts that then come with our own personal money. Now, maybe your self-worth is being reevaluated. It's also going to be about kind of earth-based innovations. So you'll see lots of talk around intentions connected to stability and things that could actually be a little bit more exciting as well as progressive. Now, touching on that, that trine to Uranus is really highlighting Pluto and Venus coming into conjunction. So we know that, Uranus is kind of in the modern day sense, kind of connected to Aquarius. So we've got some mutual reception taking place here, both with, Uranus and with Venus. You've got Venus in a Uranian sign, Uranus in a Venusian sign, just coming out of a trine a couple of days prior to this new moon. So I do think that we're going to be hearing about some massive changes that's going to be going on with policies connected to banking and also anything that deals with energy, the energy sector. And we'll get more into the Pluto-Venus conjunction in a second, but I got to tell you guys, Aquarius season is going to hit way different this year. Now, the new moon is also featuring a square to Chiron and Aries, and it's about a 6-degree square, but it's enough to be felt. Likely in the days leading up to this, you guys were experiencing, you know, the Sun, Mercury, Mars, all coming into superior conjunction with Aries. And to be quite literal, I think it's been a lot of, you know, the government and leaderships or bosses or superiors out in the world applying a lot of pressures to individuals, of individuals feeling the pain, feeling the economic pain, feeling overworked, feeling underpaid, and also, you know, recognizing where they're the ones kind of taking the brunt of things, and, you know, people are kind of getting sick of people kind of being bullies or bosses or being demanding, and all of this Capricorn energy can feel like that. Now, it does highlight wounds around identity and initiative. So it's like where we have the wounds, where we feel like we can't do it ourselves, and now we have authority figures or people telling us, you're on your own, kid, you know, figure it out, which a lot of people are going to experience, I think, in the spring of this year anyway. Now, Chiron is the wounded healer. So this means that, you know, in Aries, it's pointing to insecurities about independence as well as assertiveness. And the square provides pressure. This is a Martian energy, and it's really encouraging us to heal through action. So this gives us the opportunity to turn our vulnerabilities into strengths. Perhaps it's about confronting fears of failure when it comes to our own ambition. But if you don't try, you're never going to make it. So a lot of us are feeling that push to be like, you know what, I've been putting off, you know, launching my business, or I've been putting off retiring or changing jobs, or, you know, I'm finally going to learn how to do it myself. You know, 2026 is a very do-it-yourself energy. Teach yourself how to do something, learn how to be more independent. That's how you're going to kind of navigate the next 6 months under this kind of new moon energy. We see that the new moon is conjunct a bunch of planets, right? And so as you're watching this in early January, we're in the midst of, you know, Sun and Venus and Mars in conjunction, and you're going to see that kind of building up into this new moon. It's exhausting with oppositions to Jupiter. We're getting pulled in two directions. But I'm liking the fact that we do have benefic planets that are conjunct. Venus is actually conjunct the Sun with this one. Now it's conjunct, so it's under the beams, it's burnt up, it's overwhelmed, it's been getting overworked, and there's been a lot of stress and responsibility leading up to this new moon. But what doesn't kill you makes you stronger. So with Venus in Aquarius, you know, it is conjunct the new moon. So we see emotional starts, right? New emotional starts in love, in values, and it's in innovative ways. New social groups, new goals, new friends. Venus in Aquarius is really about emphasizing unconventional relationships, and it has this kind of humanitarian kind of side to it. So this conjunction is actually infusing intentions with maybe progressive beauty. Maybe it's going to be about attracting unique partnerships. Maybe it's about valuing freedom when it comes to success, but it can also be good for manifesting money. Now, Venus is conjunct Pluto, and you will see that in the days to follow. Venus is actually the first planet to conjunct Pluto and kind of meet with the Lord of the underworld. The Sun, Moon, Mercury, and Mars are soon to follow. So you guys will find with this conjunction, it's intense. So it's intensely transforming anything that's connected to love, money, power, and also our social connections and future goals. Aquarius is also dealing with, anything with politics. It's also strongly connected to the internet. It's strongly connected to kind of like groups of people that are kind of coming together for some kind of movement. So my goodness, this is a powerhouse alignment that can bring deep, profound changes in relationships, maybe finances, and also uncovering hidden desires or empowering rebirths. It's great for manifesting shifts in how all of us connect out in the world. Now, on the other side of this, we see Mercury and Mars that are going to be conjunct the moon. So you're going to see, obviously this is taking place, like I said, January 18th. I'm Central Time, so it's right around 1:51 p.m. So you're going to see the moon swinging into conjunction with Mercury and Mars. And that's probably going to bring some major announcements out in the world. And it will then follow over the next 4 weeks to 6 months. All of it has been in opposition to Jupiter. So you guys also want to watch the day or two leading up to this as the moon opposes Jupiter, makes everything feel bigger. You know, the moon in Capricorn, it's in its opposite sign. So it's a bit debilitated here. It's about emotional labor, and it's about kind of having to put our emotions aside and just, focusing on work, which is not obviously easy to do. And with the moon being emotions and what's kind of going on with everybody collectively in a sign that deals with authority and control, conjuncting Mars, it's going to be about a lot of emotional frustrations, a lot of emotional breakthroughs. It can also be breakdowns. And then the moon conjunct Mercury is going to be about some kind of news. So we'll see something happening right around, kind of the 17th going into the 18th as all of these lunar transits kind of get kicked up. Now with Mars and Mercury conjunct at 26 degrees of Capricorn, this is a Taurus degree, okay? So it's going to be about government involvement with banks, government involvement with mining, anything that deals with coal, anything that deals with oil, anything that's going to be also dealing with immigration, boundaries, maybe military mobilizations that's going to be around water, things that are going to be a little hazy too. So not everything is going to necessarily seem clear. I think a lot of the Capricorn transits that are going to go on this month are about kind of secret operations and things that are happening behind the scenes that most of the general public is not really aware of. We wake up, turn on the TV, and we go, oh my God, this is happening. This is changing, or this is falling apart, or this is kind of breaking down. So this triple conjunction that's heating up this week, leading up to the new moon in Capricorn, is going to show us that there's a lot of major amping up of mental energy, Mercury, and also action in practical matters, Capricorn. Mercury is words. Mars is action. It can also be words are, considered to be attacking. If they're considered to be threatening, they're considered to be actionable consequences for our words. And that is sextiling Saturn and Neptune. So you're definitely going to see quite the war on free speech. You're going to see lots of organizations. You're going to see lots of leaders. You're going to also see that there's probably going to be people in uniform that are going to be enforcing, hey, you said this, or you're making this comment, or this could be seen as threatening, or, this is something that is harmful. And it's going to be getting highlighted. You're going to see lots of people just very heated in some of their exchanges. They're going to be very pumped up, and they're going to be very much about having some sense of control and control in control when it comes to the narrative, right? So I think that's going to be a big one. Now, because Mercury brings communication and ideas and Mars adds that drive, it is positive in a sense because it's ideal for strategic planning. Maybe it's going to be about taking some bold steps forward and making some decisions, and it's also about accountability. I do expect a sharp focus here, but watch for impatience in discussions. You're going to see bosses that are going to be ornery. You're going to see parents that are going to be demanding, and you're going to feel like there is just this never-ending sense of rules and regulations that are kind of being thrown at you. The fact that it trines Uranus and Taurus, though, I do think is beneficial. I think that this is enhancing innovation and communication in action. So this is where we're making changes with finances, changes with resources. Maybe we are re-updating or reevaluating our boundaries and our spending habits, taking accountability and being more responsible. The trine also provides lots of quick thinking and resourceful kind of problem solving. So we can kind of pivot and go, okay, well, we were doing this, that's not working, now we're going to do this. And we're going to move very swiftly, especially when it comes to material realms. So if Capricorn is going to be about structure, responsibility, long-term standings, Taurus is going to be more about how does that actually affect the cost of our food? How does that affect the cost of our materials? How is that affecting also our resources? Anything that's going to be dealing with shortages or transportation of goods. And then finally, Mercury and Mars, just like the new moon, are also sextiling Saturn and Neptune. So this also is beneficial in a way because it's offering opportunities for inspired kind of discipline expression. So this does help us ground some of these creative energies, bring them into reality, and it's going to blend that logical side of Capricorn with intuition and effective manifestation. So get those vision boards ready. I do think that it can be really positive and beneficial in that sense. Obviously, this is kind of the kickoff before we get to what will be February solar eclipse in Aquarius. And if you guys have astrology software, if you guys started looking at what's going on at the end of January into February, you're going to see that Aquarius season is going to hit so much differently this year. So this is kind of getting serious about where we're going in the future, and February through April is a whole new ball game. So with that being said, let's get you guys into what is going to be the predictions for the 12 rising signs. Let's talk a little bit about what that's going to mean for all of you guys. I'm a Western astrologer, so that's what I like to practice. I'm not Vedic, and I show this to you from the perspective of the whole sign system. Now, you guys can use the whole sign system. It's pretty accurate for the most part, but I am also taking into consideration that in my heart of hearts, I'm a Placidus user. I find that it's more accurate. So those of you guys who are using Placidus, and even those of you guys who are not, I encourage you to listen to the next sign over. Now, the reason why I say this is we have to actually get serious about setting these intentions in Capricorn before we go into Aquarius season. Once we go into Aquarius season, Mars, Mercury, Sun, Moon, all those planets are going to be kind of dancing with Pluto. So it means that we have to hurry up and get something going before these really big shifts are going to be happening over in this next season in Aquarius. And it's a late degree. So because it's 28 degrees and change, almost 29 degrees, there's only 29 degrees of each sign. So a lot of you guys will benefit from listening to your rising sign and then listening to the next sign. Because I think that that's going to give us a lot of insight as to how it's going to be really fully kind of, taking place in our charts. Anyway, if you're a Placidus user and this makes sense to you, look where there's about 28, 29 degrees of Capricorn. Listen to the sign that kind of resonates with you the most. Listen to your rising sign first to see where this is taking place in your life. Then listen to your sun sign to see how it's impacting your energy or potentially your career or your joy. Listen to your moon sign to see how this is impacting you emotionally. This is a lunation, so definitely listen to your moon sign because it's going to have a lot of things that can kind of help you kind of apply some of the emotional kind of needs with this new moon. I'm taking into consideration all of the transits, okay? So everything that I just told you, those sextiles to Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, the fact that Saturn is actually the ruler, the trines to also Uranus in Taurus, Mercury and Mars kind of being in the mix. I've created a little bit of a blurb for each and every one of you guys to tell you exactly what I think is going to be going on and how to make the most of this new moon. So I'm going to start with my Aries and my Aries risings. Let me get my chart ready for you. And I'm going to, it's 28 degrees. So I'm going to take this back one day. I don't want to confuse you guys, but I'm going to take it back one day just so we can fully see the new moon in all of the signs for you guys. And let's see, let's make this a whole sign chart. And remember, it's on the 18th. It's not on the 17th. I don't want to confuse you. All right. We're going to start with Aries and Aries risings. What's up, Aries? What's going on? Quite the new moon for you, huh? Because it's involving Mars. So Mars is there. So obviously you're going to be leaping into some kind of action. Aries, you're going to have a new moon that's taking place in Capricorn in your 10th house of career and reputation. Now, if you're retiring or if you are retired or you're in between jobs, this is just about accountability for who you are out in the world and taking responsibility for something and obviously being seen. So this new moon being connected to career in your public life is going to be sparking some fresh ambitions when it comes to your professional path. Saturn is the ruler in Pisces, which it is sextiling, and that's in your 12th house. So it's connecting to maybe your spiritual healing, behind the scenes work when it comes to your goals, what you're manifesting. And it's also really tied, I think, to releasing subconscious fears about stepping into a position of authority. Whether that's becoming your own boss, confronting somebody at work, launching your own business. It's all about whether or not you're ready to embrace this new kind of image that you're going to be portraying in 2026. Saturn and Neptune going into your sign is saying a lot of the same things. And I think that you really have to chase your goals right now. Now, Mercury and Mars are also conjunct here, which is important for you because this adds a lot of personal energy. It's about being more assertive when it comes to your communication. And it's helping you pitch ideas and really be the leader that you are out in the world and also in the workspace. It will be trining Uranus and Taurus in your second house. So this basically means that it's bringing some kind of unexpected financial boost, maybe some value shifts that are supporting your new career intentions. So if you're launching businesses, if you're going to be potentially applying for jobs, if you're going to be having work meetings, you really need to visualize your success and also know which things have to come to an end so that way you can really chase your dreams. The card that I got for you, Aries, is the Ace of Swords. Wonderful. I love this with Mercury conjunct Mars. I feel like this could not be more accurate, where it's like really, putting words into action, signing contracts, launching things, having important conversations and discussions, maybe meetings, or there's going to be big launches or announcements that are going to be taking place. Likely this will be leading into, the next element. So as we're going into Aquarius season, you're really going to see this kind of kick up. So watch for important announcements and conversations regarding your responsibility and also telling people exactly what you're doing and who you are. Good luck, Aries. All right, we got Taurus and Taurus rising. What's up, Taurus? little bit friendlier for you. So for you guys, you're going to be experiencing this new moon in Capricorn on January 18th, and this will be happening in your 9th house in a fellow sister Earth sign. Beautiful trines to Uranus and Taurus. So if you happen to be a later degree Taurus, 26 to 29 degrees, you're going to really benefit from this one. I do think that this new moon kind of lighting up your 9th house of expansion, philosophy, travel, education is encouraging new belief and also new adventures. Now, it's feeding off of Saturn, which is in Pisces in your natal 11th house. So it's linking your dreams to community, and it's also about friendships that are kind of aiding where you're going. Traveling with friends, maybe building networks, maybe it's doing this with a sense of compassion. And Mercury and Mars are going to be conjunct in your 9th house during this particular new moon. So what this means is it's adding a lot of intellectual drive. It's perfect for learning or publishing. It's perfect for traveling or planning trips. It's also really great if you're involved in education, law, teaching, anything that's going to be dealing with kind of sharing your perspective with the world or with groups of people. Now, Uranus in your 1st house is receiving this trine, so it's going to light you up like a Christmas tree. It's really going to put you in front and center when it comes to your career. And I think it's going to be bringing you guys some personal breakthroughs that are helping you redefine your identity, but it's through your philosophy, or it's going to be through exploration, teaching, publishing, legal matters. I'm liking this for you guys. I think it's going to be a big one, and it definitely makes sense when you look at the gangbusters of planets going into your 10th house later at the end of the month and also in February. The card that I got for Taurus and Taurus risings is the Magician. I love this because you're the master of your reality. These sextiles to Saturn is really saying that you're kind of showing everybody your bag of tricks, all the different things that you can do. It's trining Uranus in your 1st house, which means it's making you feel like anything is possible and you're being more innovative, more flexible. Things are more exciting. You're experiencing also the opportunity maybe for teaching or training and moving into what can be a new career field. Some of you guys don't see it yet, but let me tell you, it's coming. You're going to see the opportunity to make these moves, especially as we get to the summer of 2026. You have all of the tools at your convenience. You have everything within you and also at your table to make magic happen. Taurus, good luck. Let me know what happens. Gemini and Gemini rising. What's up, guys? You're going to be having this new moon in Capricorn on January 18th in your natal 8th house. Yes, a sign that in conjunction and quincunx is you. So you and Capricorn don't always see eye to eye. And it is happening in a very introspective part of your chart. Now, the good news is that this does involve conjunctions with your planetary ruler, right? Mercury. So you're going to be playing a key role in what's kind of happening here. Obviously, this new moon is going to be activating your 8th house, which deals with intimacy, shared resources, and personal transformation. Great for psychological breakthroughs, investing in money, powership when it comes to finances, and anything that deals with psychology, research, all of that stuff. Now, it is feeding off of Saturn in Pisces, which I know has been kind of kicking a lot of your guys' butts this year, but it's almost done. And it is sextiling Saturn and Neptune. So Mercury is doing the same thing. So it tells me you're already kind of in alignment. And you see some of these financial changes, you see some of these career changes, and that you're really ready to kind of embrace some new responsibility out in the world. So this is connecting career structure to psychological or financial healing. Perhaps professional boundaries aid a personal rebirth. Obviously, Mercury conjunct Mars can bring some sharp negotiations or passionate discussions when it comes to joint finances, taxes, and inheritance. Now, Uranus in your 12th house is where it's receiving a trine. So this means that there is a lot of physical things shifting depending on your emotions, your intuition, and stuff that's kind of sudden and surprising. I think that this is sparking some intuitive flashes for you guys, precognitive dreams, and subconscious innovations when it leads to personal empowerment. Let's take a look and see what this means for my Gemini and my Gemini risings. What can they expect under this new moon in Capricorn? The card that I get is the Three of Cups, which is really, really wonderful because I feel like it means there's going to be a lot of things that you're going to be able to celebrate. And obviously, this is about working and collaborating with other people and the emotional security, the emotional fulfillment that can come from joining forces with others. Maybe this means that, you know, you're getting a loan to launch a business. Maybe this means that someone's investing in your ideas, or maybe you've got someone who's sponsoring some changes that you're making in your professional life. Regardless, the emotional side of this, which is very much tied, I think, to some of the, you know, 8th house, means that you're going to have to celebrate the wins, and it's going to be coming your way as long as you're being vulnerable, you're connecting with other people, you're sharing with other people, and it's basically paving the way for you guys to be able to come out on top, especially in your professional life. Lots to celebrate from my Geminis and Gemini risings. I hope it's a good one for you guys. All right, we have got my Cancers and Cancer risings. You guys will be experiencing a new moon in Capricorn on January 18th. And if you happen to have any Cancer placements, I would say probably more or less 27, 28, 29 degrees. This is going to be in direct opposition to you, so you're going to be feeling it. But the new moon is going to be in your opposite sign in the 7th house, in the sign of partnerships, okay? So whether it's romantic relationships, business relationships, you're looking for a new therapist, you're looking for an astrologer, maybe you're selling things, it could be also about your marketplace. It is fostering setting new intentions when it comes to commitments in relationships. Now, Saturn is the ruler, and it is sextiling Saturn, which is in your 9th house. So I do think for some of you guys, it can mean that it is really focusing on blending higher wisdom with relational discipline. You're looking for a mentor, you're looking for a teacher, you're looking for a guru, maybe you are looking for a new belief system, maybe you're looking for a lawyer. That could be the case for some Cancer or Cancer risings. Maybe you're planning on trying to travel more with your partner. Maybe there's a long distance relationship that sets up over the next 6 months from this. But I personally feel like it doesn't matter if it's travel or philosophy, these things are going to help strengthen the bonds that you have with other people. Now, Mercury and Mars obviously add a little bit more of a dynamic sense to this, because it means that there could be a lot of focus on communicating with partners, a lot of focus on traveling with partners. It can also mean that it's bringing in people who are very kind of demanding, or relationships are moving very quickly, or if you're in an existing relationship, it can mean that your partner's going through a lot of change in how they communicate. They're learning not to just get frustrated. They're trying to kind of work through their emotions and communicate better. Now, if you're wanting to bring in a new relationship, you plant seeds under this new moon, and you might have to travel, or you might have to go through, kind of channels of education to be able to meet someone. But I think there's going to be lots of dynamic conversations. It's really about trying to resolve any conflicts in a more assertive manner. And that trine to Uranus that's going to be happening in your natal 11th house basically means that it's introducing new goals. There could be new friends, unconventional friends, and kind of mixing and mingling with people could open the door to potentially meeting a sweetheart. Now, this can also bring group changes that can enhance your connections as well. And being that you're ruled by the moon, I think that I would really be watching the days to follow, because not only will you have this new moon where, yes, okay, there could be a conflict or a fight or something with someone, but it is going to then go into Aquarius, and then a couple days later it'll go into Pisces. And so you might be planning a trip with someone. Maybe there's a new teacher that comes into your life. Maybe you're going to be, kind of getting out there and connecting with new people. But I think it's going to be quite beneficial for a lot of you guys. And especially in a business sense, because Capricorn could be business. So some of you guys are maybe going to be deciding that, you're wanting to, launch a business, or you're going to have just a really busy period that's going to be kind of going on then. So let's take a look and see what the cards say for Cancer and Cancer rising in regards to this new moon in your 7th house. The card that I got for you is the Queen of Coins, okay? So this can be about dealing with a Capricorn, and like the moon is feminine, Capricorn is feminine. So whether it's a Capricorn or a Virgo or a Taurus, watch for some of these people that are going to be kind of coming into your life. This could also mean that you're just handling relationships like a boss. You're being direct, matter of fact. You're trying not to let emotions kind of take you over. Maybe you're also expecting or trying to see that there could be more maturity in some of your connections. This is also about emotionally figuring out what is going to feel the most safe and secure. Remember, queens nurture things. It can be wonderful if you're doing business, or if you're trying to bring in more clients, or you're doing some kind of marketing. But watch for the maturity and kind of the glow up in relationships, and also feeling like after this period, you can be bringing in something that can feel more solid, more stable, and also more rewarding. Cancer, I hope it's a good one for you guys. Let me know what happens. For my Leos and Leo risings, you guys are going to experience a new moon in Capricorn on the 17th of January in your natal 6th house. Now, this is a sign that inconjuncts or quincunxes you guys, but I think you guys are going to handle it like pros. So even though it can feel sometimes like a bit of a blind spot, you're ruled by the sun. So new moons, solar eclipses, that's your bag. You guys have had the first half of January to feel some of the conjunctions with Venus and also Mars on your sun, the sun transit, not on your sun, but with the sun. So there's been this power up period that's been going on for the last couple of weeks. Now, new moons represent new intentions. So when you have a new moon in the 6th house, it's energizing the 6th house of health, work, also routines, and it's definitely a time to set intentions when it comes to better habits. Now, if you want to go back to the gym, if you want to get on a new work schedule, you want to find a new office, you want to get back to work or find a new job, maybe you just want to get organized and feel better, this is the new moon for you. Now, it's all feeding off of Saturn, which is in Pisces in your 8th house, and it's sextiling. So the sun's sextiling, the moon's sextiling, Mercury and Mars are there. So this is really, really, really positive energy for you guys to kind of get the show on the road with your mind, body, spirit balance. Now, it is sextiling Saturn in the 8th house. So it's linking that transformation that you're going to be kind of going through emotionally, spiritually, psychologically, even financially, and when it comes to intimacy and joint resources, to healing some of the stuff that you have been afraid to kind of deal with. So healing through structured intimacy, managing debt, dealing with your emotions, and how if you're dealing with your emotions, it leads to better habits, or if you're getting into the groove of having better habits, how much of a positive impact it can actually have on you psychologically. Now, Mercury and Mars add a major boost, and this is a biggie because, obviously it's been moving with your sun. And I think that this is about productivity. It's also about problem solving at work. Yes, you could be really busy. Yes, you could be feeling like you're just working out like crazy, or you're just trying to get organized, or there's just a lot that needs to get done. But focus on the problem solving aspect of it. This is also wonderful for those of you guys who really want to get your diet in order, your finances in order, and having new systems to make sure that everything is running, at appropriate kind of measures. Now, it's all trining Uranus, which is in your 10th house. So I like this for you guys. Obviously, if you're a late degree Leo or Leo rising, you're still under like a Uranus square. But this tells me that if you are able to hire help, if you're able to get organized, if you're able to stay focused, stay on task, yes, it can bring positive, unexpected changes in your career. And I think it can also be because you're improving your wellness, you're staying organized, and you're going to have, I think, more job satisfaction. You're going to get a lot of things done. Now, the 6th house also can deal with health and issues connecting to illness. So be mindful that, you have to take care of your health. Some Leo and Leo risings might have tummy issues. They can definitely have some inflammation going on. There can also be a sense of them needing to kind of tend to something health related or something connected to service or even pets. So those are some of the topics that kind of get lit up under this new moon for you guys. Let's see what the cards have to say for my Leos and Leo risings. What are they going to be expecting under this new moon in Capricorn in their 6th house? The card that I got for you guys is the 5 of Cups. Okay, so this can be talking about kind of like disappointment. It can be talking about kind of feeling flustered or frustrated. And honestly, I see this as a new moon where if you get sick of your own crap, it will incentivize you to be like, I have to do something. Now I have to push forward. I have to make a change. For some of you guys, it might mean that you have to detox. It might mean that you have to start moving your body. Maybe it's about getting back to therapy with Saturn and Neptune being in your 8th house. Maybe it's about accepting and acknowledging what hasn't worked to bring in new systems. I wouldn't harbor too much on what's gone wrong or what's not working. I'd focus more on being, proactive, having a can-do attitude, and recognizing and realizing that blocked emotions can lead to you feeling scattered and also not feeling well. So take a moment and take a breath and then process what you need to do and be open to kind of pulling yourself up by the bootstraps and really making some really, really big change. Good luck, Leo. For Virgo and Virgo rising, you guys are going to experience a new moon taking place in the sign of Capricorn, fellow sister earth sign, in your 5th house. If you're a late degree Virgo, Virgo rising, 27, 28, 29 degrees, this is going to be a new moon that's going to be trining you. And also Mercury is in the mix with this. So this is going to be pretty prominent for you guys as well. What a great place to have a fifth house new moon. And I would imagine a lot of you guys are, even if you're not seeing it now in January, you're going to see this totally transform as you're getting into the summer of 2026. So Virgo, the new moon in your fifth house is all about creativity. It's about getting in touch with your inner child, making more time for dating, hobbies, romance, and joy. So it's really inspiring you to focus on fun, new starts. Now, Saturn in Pisces is the ruler, and it is actually sextiling Saturn in your seventh house. It's sextiling Neptune too, and the seventh house can be dealing with, committed relationships. So I see this as a period of time where with that connection to partnerships, really what it tells me is Saturn is saying, okay, you need more creative structure. Relationships can actually really support your self-expression, and Mercury and Mars are adding kind of like this flirtatious wit and also opportunities for passion, dating, new creative hobbies, passion projects, hanging out with kids, or a lot of action that's going on with children if you do have children. Now it is trining Uranus in Taurus, so you will be one of the signs that will be receiving a grand Earth trine, especially if you're a later degree Virgo or Virgo rising, which is quite great. You can feel very inspired to learn, to play, to travel, and you're kind of opening up to new potential possibilities. Now, Virgo, I do think that with this trine to Uranus in your ninth house, it's offering the opportunity to have more adventure when it comes to ideas. Maybe you're going to be booking a spontaneous getaway for you and your sweetheart. Maybe it involves education in your children. Maybe you want to take a creative class or learn more about money. I personally think that, somehow inspiration is going to be fueling the fun that you guys are having. Equally, if you happen to be a, later degree Virgo, sun, moon, or rising, this can be a time where you're getting ready to think about launching your own business, or maybe you are trying to conceive and start a family. But kids can be a hot topic with all these conjunctions. Mercury doesn't just rule you, it also rules your 10th house of career. As it's conjunct Mars, it can mean it's about how you're communicating with your kids. It can mean that this is about, once again, planning travel or some new creative hobby that involves writing, blogging, or websites. Look for support that's coming from your partner to see this through. All right, so let's take a look and see from my Virgo and Virgo risings, what should they be expecting with this new moon that's going to be taking place in Capricorn in their fifth. The card that you get is the Nine of Cups. Could not have picked a better card for you guys. This is the wish fulfillment. Something is being granted. I've noticed in the comment section, there's been a lot of Virgo and Virgo risings that are like, I'm in hermit mode. I'm not dating. Like, I want to be left alone. And I'm assuming a lot of you guys are later degree Virgo or Virgo risings. This is where you start to see the good stuff come in, guys. Obviously, this is the card that you want to pull. So some kind of wish is going to be granted. I'm thinking with Mercury conjunct Mars, you want more romance, you want more fun, you want to feel more affection. Maybe you want more time with your kids. Maybe you just want more time to yourself to do some of the things that don't involve work. This is where you're going to get what you're asking for. I would really set intentions and set a wish around this, which makes sense. Obviously, the moon rules wishes in your chart. So this is a very kind of fertile energy where if you're hoping for a true love, if you're wanting to start a family, if you're wanting to have more fun, set intentions around this. You have to vocalize it, maybe write things down and then burn them because Mars and Mercury are conjunct. If you want to see this kind of come true over the better part of the next 6 months. Good luck, Virgo. I love that for you guys. For Libra and Libra rising, you guys are going to be experiencing a new moon in the sign of Capricorn in your natal 4th house. Libra, obviously, if you are a later degree Libra, 27, 28, 29 degrees, this is going to square you. Life might feel a little loud, so just take a breath. But a new moon in your 4th house of home, first of all, the moon's at home here. It doesn't mind being in the 4th house. And the 4th house deals with family. It deals with focusing on your emotional foundations. If you want to move, if you want to renovate, if you want to go visit family, if you are thinking about just kind of restructuring everything when it comes to your private life and your emotional world, this is the new moon for you. Now, something to think about is that recently Mars and Venus have been moving through this house. So there's been a lot of action there, and a lot of Libra and Libra risings have been talking about, well, are we moving? Are we buying? Are we selling? You know, what are we doing? And there's been a lot of just things that have been going on in your private life that has probably felt like you've been, kind of trying to keep it under the seams while you're balancing things at work with the oppositions to Jupiter. Now, Libra, this is all being influenced by Saturn and Pisces. So you've got Saturn that's in your 6th house, which deals with health, habits, work, your schedule, your routine, your pets. service. And I think that this is really kind of teaching you that you have to really link that energy of Saturn and really focus on inner healing by having better daily habits. You need better daily habits or a better schedule to build that security. So get your house in order, Libra. This is about maybe having a family kind of calendar where you guys are all able to connect and talk about when you're working and when you're doing things. This can also mean that there's work that needs to be done in the home or things that need to be fixed. Great time if you are wanting to hire a real estate agent to buy or sell a house. This is also a really great time to start thinking about maybe coming up with a new work schedule, or maybe this means that you guys are going to be improving things in your home, getting organized, decluttering, all of that stuff. Your spring cleaning can kind of actually start right around now. Now, yes, it can take up to 6 months to see this dream become a reality, but I think it's definitely very doable for a lot of you guys. Venus, your chart ruler, is now coming into conjunction with Pluto in the 5th, so it might be something revolving around a home where there's entertaining or some kind of like family gatherings that are going to be taking place. Libra, this is going to be also involving a conjunction with Mercury and Mars. So this means that it's bringing family talks or home improvements really to the forefront. And there could be family arguments. There can also be lots of frustrations about just how much needs to get done at home. And I would say the trine to Uranus in your 8th house is really kind of saying it's really about bringing in new innovations with money. It can be about refinancing. It could be about saving. It can be about investing. And the shared resources that can come in that are actually going to help stabilize you, your home, and also your emotions. Libra, let's see what the cards say for you in terms of this new moon in Capricorn. The card that I get is Judgment. As Libra rising, I'm laughing because I know that the Mercury Mars is like, okay, we got to come up with a plan, right? We got to commit. We got to make a decision. We got to do it now. And it can mean that it's going to be about whether or not you're going to move or you're going to stay, or if you're going to relocate somewhere further, or the bigger plans when it comes to your family. But Judgment is saying it's now or never. So you do have to really be mindful of what needs to be dealt with immediately, start getting the show on the road, coming up with a schedule, like I said, or potentially even asking for some help, because Judgment is saying that it's the final decision that's going to be made about a home or family matter, and it's going to be a big one. I think it can be very exciting and very liberating if you guys lean into some of the trines with Uranus and some of the sextiles to Saturn and Neptune. Yeah, you'll have to restructure work around some of the family stuff, but it's going to be worth it for your peace of mind. Good luck, Libra. My Scorpios and Scorpio risings, what's up, guys? We are going to be seeing a new moon in Capricorn taking place in your natal 3rd house. And obviously this is a sign that's friendly for you. So it does sextile you, especially if you're like a later degree Scorpio or Scorpio rising. The new moon is going to be activating your 3rd house. Okay. And Mars is in the mix. So you're definitely going to see some major emphasis here. Basically the new moon in the 3rd house is about communication. It's going to be about learning. It's encouraging new ideas, new websites, contracts, maybe even new vehicles, and dealing with neighbors, and just really about how you communicate and get the word out. Now, this is ruled by Saturn, which is in Pisces, a fellow sister water sign, and the Mars sextile Saturn and Neptune, the new moon, the Mercury sextile Saturn and Neptune is actually really good for you, Scorpio. It means that it's blending creativity through that Saturn Neptune in your 5th house with mental discipline. So romance can feel very inspiring. There can be inspiring conversations with, romantic partners, with children. There could be new writing projects that could be very creatively fulfilling. There can also be websites that are going up. There can be travel that you're kind of planning with a romantic partner. And obviously everything feels very inspiring to me, and like that you're kind of willing to take action. I see here that Mercury rules your investments or money that you have with another person. So the fact that Mercury and Mars are going to meet with the moon tells me that you may be springing on some travel plans, or that there is going to be spending money on vehicles, spending money on learning, changing your mind, or making a quick kind of financial move when it comes to investments. And obviously, this is simultaneously going to be really ramping up conversations. And it makes you very articulate. It makes you very motivated. Now, trines that you're going to see to Uranus and Taurus is great because it brings unexpected conversations with partners that release some kind of pressure. So it's going to help expand your mindset when it comes to relationships or committed partnerships. especially revolving family relationships as Uranus rules your fourth, or traveling that's going to involve visiting or kind of connecting with family as well. I do want to remind you guys that this is happening on like the heels, well, actually not the heels, it's coming before. So it's just kind of like the prelude to what will be next month's solar eclipse in your fourth house. And so there is a lot of talk about traveling, what's going on with family, what's kind of changing with the home. I encourage you to use this new moon to really focus on communicating what's going to make you happy, communicating and or traveling with partners, paying attention to what's going on also with driving, because there can be a huge emphasis on driving or some change maybe that's happening with leases, buying cars, insurance. I think there could be some conversations about changes with those kind of third house things, okay? All right, what does Scorpio need to know about this new mindset, this new moon, this new way of communicating? What is the advice for them? The card that I get is the Nine of Wands, okay, which kind of makes sense. I mean, I could see how Mercury and Mars is like some Scorpios being like, man, I'm burnt out, you know? And I would say, yeah, I feel that. I could see that, but I also feel like this is about you going, I'm not going to give up. I'm going to keep trying. And I do think that a new moon here is going to be really powerful for you guys speaking affirmations out loud, for writing your goals down. I think it's also going to be really wonderful if you guys decide to take a step back, give yourself some credit where credit is due. I can tell you that a lot of you guys are going to have a pretty kick-ass summer. Your career stuff is really going to explode in some of the best ways, very creatively. A lot of it is being seeded off of what's happening this month and what's going to be happening next month, and really just getting your mindset right with what changes can I make, what can I do, or how can I shift things so I can have more joy, so I can have more creativity. And the Nine of Wands is about feeling like you've been fighting the good fight and you're just about ready to give up. And I would say don't reassess where you've been. Maybe rethink about how you're talking to yourself and how you're connecting with other people. Try to focus on creative ways and ask other people to collaborate with you so that way you can have the breakthrough that you guys deserve. Scorpio, I hope it's a good one. Let me know what happens. For Sag and Sag rising, what's up, Saggies? Boy, oh boy, this is quite the financial new moon for you guys. You're going to have a new moon taking place in Capricorn on January 18th, and this will be in your second house, which deals with your values, your finances, spending power, anything that's connected to physical and material goods. So Sagittarius, this is where you set intentions for abundance. This is the one time a year where you get to do your money magic. Bust out your crystals, maybe put a couple dollar bills under a magnet, plant some seeds of intention when it comes to growing your wealth and your resources, because this is when you want to do it. Now, it is making a sextile to the ruler Saturn in Pisces in your natal fourth house. So it is friendly, and now it's offering you some aid and some support for what's going on in your home and family zone. Now, this means that it's connecting some of your home life to financial structures. So family is somehow supporting your stability. Maybe it means you've got people who are pitching in, helping pay for rent or down payment on a house. Maybe it means that you're really setting new intentions about saving money, working hard, so that way you can, maybe renovate a home, maybe you can move into your own apartment, maybe so that way you can save money, you're moving back home. There's something that's going on here. It can also mean that you just have goals for being able to improve, decorate, maybe visit family. That could be something else that can go on. So it's really about building security and stability, both through the second and also the fourth house. The second's more about money. The fourth is going to be more about home. So if you've been thinking about doing any of these things, this is a good time to actually get the show on the road. Now, something else to think about is that Mercury and Mars are conjunct here, okay? So Mars is going to deal with, getting creative, maybe working through some subconscious blocks, and Mercury deals with relationships and also your career. So you might be kind of communicating with a partner and being like, hey, how can we save money together? How can we get creative or find some new creative ways to make some extra cash? And I think that this is very savvy also for negotiations, bringing in new clients, and obviously, new ideas when it comes to your income. Now, Uranus in your sixth house is forming a trine to this new moon. And this means that there's new innovations when it comes to your work, maybe your routine, maybe your health. Certainly the second house is like what we eat and what we consume, or spending. So I would say changing up your diet, changing up your work schedule, changing up, something about the way that you're kind of innovating some of your finances, and maybe even incorporating apps and things that can kind of help you get your finances organized and come up with some new goals and help you manage your spending. I think that would be really wonderful for a lot of my Sag and Sag risings. Now, you are going to feel this impulse to buy something, spend money, or there is some kind of major financial influx that's going to be kind of coming in. So I think it's going to be wonderful for a lot of you guys, and it's going to be very stabilizing. And I think you're really kind of getting your professional and your health goals kind of set under this because of some of the ties to both the 6th and the 10th house. Rebuilding self-esteem too. I think that's part of it. So what do my Sag and Sag risings need to know about this beautiful new moon in the financial area of their chart? What can the tarot tell us about this? The card that I got is the Two of Swords, which is interesting because Mars is there. So it makes me feel like you're like, okay, what do I need to either cut or what do I need to spend on? So it's like, I have this, what do I do with it? Do I do something big or do I kind of save for a rainy day? There is some financial indecisiveness going on here. And I could definitely see that there is some fears of maybe investing in yourself or some fears of spending a large sum of money or kind of questioning whether or not, you stay or go in a relationship or you stay and go in a career sense. And you're kind of just doing this. And I would say thinking about the Sag rising chart in this next year, thinking that Saturn's going to go into your 5th house, Neptune's going to go into your 5th house, you have to take creative risks. I'm not saying you have to spend a bunch of money to do so, but it is important to really think about if you are trying to find, a new path forward in your professional life, or if you are trying to be self-employed, use systems, use apps, use things that can keep inventory, that can keep track, that can also help you manage some of the expenses that you have. Take the risks. I think that you have to invest in yourself to really see something come to fruition, and it can really help you achieve some of your home and family goals. Sag, I hope it's a good one for you guys. Let me know what happens. And we've got our Capricorns and Capricorn risings. My Cappies, how does it feel to be God's favorite this month? I'm seeing so many positive comments with Aquarius and with Capricorn and Capricorn risings that are just like, I feel so empowered and like, yes, especially if you happen to be a late degree Capricorn and Capricorn rising, this new moon is for you. So if you're having a new moon around your birthday, happy birthday. Quite the year for you guys. Well, new moon, new you, right? That's what we say. The new moon's going to be in your 1st house of self. And so this makes it very personal, and it is your personal reset. So you get once a year to set all of the intentions regarding who you are, what you want to do, how you want to look, how you want to feel for the rest of the year. So make the most of it. Gosh, especially with all these aspects in the sky. Now, something else to think about, which is kind of like sidebar, is that even though it's all about you, when you have a new moon, it's about how you are transforming, because the sun is about kind of merging and transforming with relationships. So that could be relationship to self. That could mean whether or not you're wanting to call in a new relationship. That could mean, you're moody when the moon's in your sign. You could be kind of moody and you're reacting and responding to some of the things that's going on with partners. And that could be family, because Jupiter's in Cancer. That could be spouses, 7th house. That could be maybe how you're just kind of interacting with other people in general. And Jupiter has been retrograde, so you can feel like people are not as consistent, or they're kind of wandering, or, there is a sense of them doing too much or being too self-focused, and you're like, it's all about me right now, okay? So when you have this new moon, it's this personal rebirth, and it's going to be sextiling your chart ruler, Saturn, which is direct in your 3rd house. And the 3rd house is the house of communication. And so this is all about kind of really linking communication to identity building. Let your words speak for themselves. I think ideas are going to shape your growth, what you're saying, what you're writing, what you're thinking. This is a time to put words into action also, because you're going to see that Mercury and Mars in your sign are linking up. And this is going to be really empowering your voice and helping you get kind of the show on the road with moving, maybe changes when it comes to your career, maybe changes when it comes to your goals. Certainly if you're a Capricorn and Capricorn rising that wants to focus more on fitness, because Mercury deals with your health, and setting some new health goals where you're like, okay, I want to lose weight, I want to gain muscle, I want to focus on endurance, You could do that, and I would certainly say doing that through hiking or a walking pad or upward incline, resist a little bit of weight resistance, or potentially even, bringing in some breathing exercises, bringing in some meditation, maybe stationary bikes or things that are going to be on screens that you could watch can be a good idea. I mean, like literally, you have your favorite TV show, you watch it for an hour every day, get in a walking pad, get on a treadmill, or listen to your favorite podcast that's inspirational, go for a walk. Time will pass very quickly, and you will find that you can see the physical and the emotional kind of manifestations very quickly at the same time. I think that Uranus in your 5th house is fun too, because it is trining a planet that is kind of sudden, unexpected, and it can bring sudden insights and breakthroughs. And so it can mean that, maybe there's sparks for creativity, maybe there is sparks for romance, maybe obviously with having had Mercury and Mars and kind of Venus in your sign, a lot of you guys just kind of feel like Stella got their groove back, and you're like, yeah, I'm ready to date. Like, let's have fun, let's take chances. And being a little bit more excitable, being a little bit more creative is definitely some of the themes that you're going to see with that. It can also bring sudden surprises when it comes to love and children. Now, I think these surprises are all just boosting your self-confidence. I think this is such a beautiful way to kick off your season. Just be mindful that this is also going to be what you're calling in with that moon being connected to your 7th house. So if you want to call in love, if you want to call in more clients or more business, if you're also just wanting to potentially, just really have a complete restart and focus on looking, feeling, and coming across different in 6 months, this is when you want to do it. A lot of you guys will too, because you've got Saturn and Neptune going into Aries next month. So a lot of you guys are going to be moving. You're going to have major changes in your family. And all these planets in your 1st house is giving you so much energy and momentum to just get the job done. The card that I got for you guys is the King of Swords. So I like this. This is also very like Martian, where it's like, yep, this is what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, now you're telling people like what's up and what's changing. King of Swords can also be, a Gemini, a Libra, or an Aquarius that's somehow kind of coming into the mix, and somebody who you're kind of dealing with. But I feel like this is about putting your money where your mouth is, literally telling people in 6 months' time, this is what I'm going to be doing. I'm going to be published, right? Saturn, Neptune in the 3rd. I'm going to learn this new language. Maybe it means I'm going to travel more. Maybe it means that you're just going to feel like you're really mastering that sense of having a stable mental state and not letting other people kind of rock you, and feeling very confident and very bold in some of your ideas and what you want to share and what you want to kind of tell people. Contracts and contractual agreements or anything that's kind of like big announcements also can be made with that Saturn, Neptune in your 3rd house. So I'm wondering, is there going to be new websites? Is there going to be podcasts? Are you going to be kind of sharing some of your brilliant ideas with the world? Capricorn, what a great reading for you guys. Definitely let me know how this kind of manifests over the next couple of weeks. Aquarius and Aquarius rising, you guys are going to experience a new moon in Capricorn in your natal 12th house. Now for you guys, this is a little bit more quiet. It's a little bit more behind the scenes, but enjoy the peace while you have it before we get into the end of the month when all these planets go into your sign. They conjunct Pluto. Definitely get your rest. A new moon in the 12th house is about spirituality. It's about closure. This is inviting reflection. This is also about spiritual practices. And the work that you're kind of doing subconsciously. So taking some time to be in nature, taking some time maybe to not overwork, to rest would be beneficial. And a lot of this is playing off of Saturn. And so, Saturn is your traditional ruler, Aquarius. Uranus is your modern day ruler. This new moon is making aspects to both of these planets. So it's very favorable for you. And Venus is also in your sign. Hello. So you might be feeling like you kind of want to retreat a little bit under this new moon. But I do feel like there is definitely going to be a lot of visibility and a lot of people who are very attracted to you or wanting to connect with you or wanting to come and see you. And you're kind of conflicted because you're like, I want to be in hermit mode, but you're getting a lot of attention. So this new moon, I think, is, building off of Saturn in your 2nd house, which basically means it's connecting your values to your subconscious healing. So there's a need to release any issues revolving around your self-worth. There is a need also to let go of life is hard or, I'm not bringing enough money kind of mindset. We can't be in those mindsets. We have to clear those out and really focus on stabilizing your security, visualizing material growth, visualizing also confidence. I think that's going to be the key. you're one of the signs that I would say, you know, rest, vision board, you know, maybe just take it easy and do something that's going to be helping you feel more so grounded. Now, I also think that Mercury and Mars kind of being in the mix in Capricorn adds mental clarity, but it's for shadow work. And truth be told, I think a lot of you guys can be seeing there's a lot of stuff coming up from your childhood. There's some crazy dreams. Some of you guys might be feeling like you're having symbolic kind of dreams or precognitive dreams. Even nightmares can kind of happen when Mercury and Mars are in the 12th house. And I want you guys to know, you know, this is about kind of processing that out of your subconscious and not carrying this into your physical body, right? Saturn, Neptune in the second is like, do I feel solid? And I need to kind of detox and clear all of that stuff out. So literally take a salt bath, you know, maybe sage yourself. This can be a time where you're releasing all of that fear and you have some help. Even though you're working through the shadow work in the 12th house, this is all trining Uranus, your modern day ruler, in Taurus in the 4th house. And so I know it hasn't been friendly to all of my Aquarius and Aquarius risings in, you know, in this last couple of years because you've been having a lot of turbulence at home. But this is a trine, so it's going to be beneficial. And this is kind of bringing home or family innovations up and bringing opportunity for emotional peace. Now, believe it or not, the 12th house is your bedroom. So it can be a good idea to reorganize your bedroom a little bit, clean out some of the closets, have less things. Saturn and Neptune in the second says minimalism, declutter, get rid of stuff, donate stuff. And that way you're feeling like the energy and the vibe in the house has shifted a little bit. And take some time to kind of meditate and reflect on where you see some of these potential changes that are going to be coming for you in your home or in your private life. I think that's going to be the biggest kind of takeaway. So Aquarius, I hope you enjoy this kind of like cocoon phase, because as you get into January and February, there's going to be definitely this butterfly phase where you have to leave something from the past behind. And it's an old identity, it's an old job, it's old stories that you've told yourself about whether or not you're safe or secure. And the card that you get is the 10 of Cups. Aquarius, what if I told you that all the things that are kind of wrapping up or ending or phasing out are actually probably some of the best things for you and also for your family? 10 of Cups is a card that's about family. So whether it's your spouse, your kids, your siblings, maybe it's going to be your home life and where you're moving. This is a card of complete and total fulfillment. There's a rainbow at the end of this you know, situation. And I really feel like it's some kind of rebirth that's coming. And many of you guys will probably find that it's about giving your sense of freedom from old family kind of patterns, ancestral patterns, also old ways of doing things with money or with work. So if you're changing jobs, if you're taking a step back from work, if you're moving, if there's things like that happening, trust what the universe is telling you. It's clearing things out so that way you can have a lot more fun and a lot more freedom next year. Good luck, Aquarius. And last but certainly not least, we've got the Pisces and the Pisces risings. What's up, Pisces? You guys are going to be having a new moon taking place in Capricorn in your natal 11th house. Now, this is beautiful for you because you are also one of like the kind of key players in this with some of the sextiles to Saturn and Neptune in your sign. This new moon is activating your 11th house, which deals with your communities. It's also about hope. This is about fostering new aspirations, making new friends, and anything that's kind of connected to your goals in the future. So this is a wish-setting new moon. Now, it's all ruled by Saturn in Pisces, which is obviously in your sign. And if you happen to be a 26, 27, 28, 29 degree Pisces, you're a key player here because you've got Saturn and Neptune either on your sun, moon, or rising. So you are the captain of your own ship, okay? That's the one takeaway that I think that I would give you guys for this reading. Saturn being in your first house, blending self-discipline with Neptune's dreams is fueling some of your goals and your roles when it comes to groups and some of your friendships. You're literally supposed to be the ringleader right now of bringing people together, starting networks, planning parties, going to networking events, starting businesses. All of these things are going to be fueled by whether or not you believe in the vision that you have. Now, what's cool about this is that Mercury and Mars are also in the mix. And so Mercury ties to relationships, clients, and partnerships. Obviously, it also deals with home and family. Mars deals with money and your belief system. So it's a very social time, good time to be like I'm starting a group, or I'm going to have regular, meetups, or I'm going to be joining an association, or I'm going to be leading people or having regular meetings at work. And I think that Mercury and Mars really bring that networking drive. Mercury is also about clients and relationships. So it means that, maybe you have to get out there and you have to mix and mingle, and that through a friendship, you could actually meet someone. Mars could also bring you more money. Now, this is all going to be trining Uranus, which is going to be in your third house. So with Uranus in your third house, this is friendly with Saturn and Neptune and trining the new moon. Uranus is sometimes your subconscious. It can be your hidden talents. It could also be unexpected conversations or unexpected travel. And it does offer kind of inventive ideas, maybe siblings that are supporting your visions. Maybe it's going to be new writing projects or things that are connecting to media, short distance travel, and also a shift when it comes to your frame of mind. I think for Pisces, this is going to be quite beautiful, and I would definitely be writing down my intentions. I would be doing group kind of intention settings. I would be getting together regularly with people to network, or be having business meetings, because I think that can really kind of help you get a leg up in some of the changes that you're going to be making in your career. And also, I think having some more fun, because it's all been in opposition to Jupiter. So I think you need other people that you can kind of connect and collaborate with if you're feeling like you need a new hobby. All right, so let's take a look and see what can we tell Pisces and Pisces risings about this Capricorn new moon. The card that I got for you, obviously, is the Two of Coins, which I think more or less kind of encapsulates a lot of what's been going on for you guys in the month of January. Jupiter is your traditional ruler, and a lot of you guys have seen planets that have been in opposition to Jupiter, which is retrograde, and a lot of you guys are going, well, I want to get out and have fun, but I got to take care of my kids. I want to, be more creative, but I just don't know, what community to join. It can mean I want to date, but I don't know, how to get out there again. And really, this is where you go and you find your tribe, you find your people. So you've been kind of weighing out the pros and cons of all of these things for the last month. And so the Two of Coins makes sense because it feels that you're kind of juggling and you're doing a lot. I think with some of these aspects, you can have your cake and eat it too. You can still tend to some of the responsibilities and your own, kind of needs when it comes to your happiness or even your family or relationships, but also simultaneously make time to make sure that you have that social connection. You're chasing your dreams. You've got people who are supporting you. And I think you guys are really going to have to master that more or less the better part of like the next 6 months, especially if you want to find joy and fulfillment. I think that's the big key here. So pace yourselves, don't take on too much with some of those oppositions, believe in your dreams. And I think that maybe where there's been too much excess in this last month, it's going to show you where you need to kind of recalibrate so that way you can feel personally fulfilled. Pisces, I hope it's a good one for you guys in this next month. All right, guys. Well, thank you guys so much for joining me, obviously through this new moon in Capricorn video. Remember that the stars guide us, but it's us that shape our own destiny. So I hope you guys love this new moon. I'm really excited to see what happens and what kind of transpires over the next several weeks and months. And if this video resonated with you, give me a thumbs up and like the video. Consider subscribing to the channel or joining my memberships. Also, leave me a comment below and let me know what goals you're hoping to achieve under this beautiful Capricorn new moon. I love to hear the comments from you guys. Any interaction with the channel really helps the channel grow. Consider also sharing this with other astrology fans, and let me know what intentions you guys are setting. If you guys want to book a personal reading with me, I'd love to read with you. I offer natal chart readings, solar return readings, election dates, relationship readings, and so much more. So you guys can see more about me and my work if you click the link below and head over to beyondtheveiltarot.com. I am booking now in March and April and May of 2026. So if you've got birthdays around that time, consider checking that out. And if you guys want to learn astrology with me like a pro, I'm going to be teaching my Astro 301 at the end of this month. I'm back after 2 years of a hiatus with live teaching. I'm going to be teaching you guys all of my advanced techniques that I use in my everyday practice with clients to help you guys read like a professional astrologer and get set up if you want to have your own practice. I have a few spots left, so if you guys want to check that out, head over to my course page on my website, and I hope you guys enjoy this new moon in Capricorn. I'll see all of you guys very soon. Take care.